Hi scholars, Dr. Ratcliffe here. I just wanted to make a brief video talking about the introduction and the conclusion to the team presentation. So if you've read the assignment or seen some of my earlier videos, you know that the first main point speaker will also deliver the overall introduction to the team presentation. And then the final speaker will deliver the overall conclusion for the team presentation. Now I noticed on some of the discussions in Team Discussion 1 that people were reluctant to take the first or the last speaker position. So I wanted to reassure you that this is not really extra work at all. And I'll show you how simple an introduction and conclusion can be in this particular instance. And then I also wanted to warn you that if no one particularly signed up for the first or last speaker slot, then whoever the last speaker is who actually volunteered, whether it's the third speaker and the fourth and fifth speaker haven't shown up yet, or you're just the last number in the lineup, you're going to have to give the team conclusion. And so this week, as you figure out who your missing teammates are, and if they show up, fine. If not, okay, move on without them. Whoever ends up being that final speaker, that needs to be worked out, and that person needs to offer a brief overall conclusion at the end of their main point. And so you need to figure this out. You need to really make sure that everyone is clear on speaker order. If someone does not show up in these discussions, do not feel like you have to do their part. Don't feel like you have to make up for anything that they would have done. You do what you signed up for. You really just need to know the speaker order so you can introduce who's coming after you at the end of your presentation. And then if you are the first speaker or the last speaker in the introduction and the conclusion, you'll want to summarize who each presenter was and what their topic was. And so if you have not finalized that speaker order decision, that needs to be done at the beginning of this week, because that's going to affect how people do their outline drafts, which are due this week during Team Discussion 2. And so please make sure that those decisions are made and people know what they're doing. And if someone doesn't show up for these discussions, don't give them a part. Just leave them out of the whole situation. If they show up, just insert them somewhere in the middle and move on. So, what does an overall introduction look like for this presentation? It literally is 3 sentences. So that's why I say it's not a lot of extra work. So the first thing you're going to do is have an attention statement, something that creatively starts this presentation. It could be a rhetorical question, it could be a startling statistic, it could be, a short story, it could be a lot of different things, a quote. So come up with an opening sentence that gets the audience's attention, that has something to do with your topic. Now the interesting thing is each group has the same overall topic, which is communication problems in the workplace. And then each individual person within each individual team has their specific problem that they're discussing. And so the overall goal of the team's presentation, no matter really what team you're in, is going to be pretty much the same. So the second sentence you need to say should sound something like, communication problems are common in the workplace, and today our team is going to address some common problems. Okay, so everyone could have a pretty similar thesis statement, which is the second sentence here, the overall goal of the presentation. And then every introduction across the teams should also preview the speakers and their topics. And so this is literally a sentence that says, so my name is Amanda Ratcliffe. I'm going to be talking about miscommunication through email. My colleagues, Sandra Johnson, will be discussing poor written communication in the workplace. Josh so-and-so will be discussing, make up a topic, right? You don't, but I'm, for the purposes of this video, just insert a sample. And that's it. You basically are listing your teammates' names and their topics. And then you say, but first I'm going to begin our presentation by talking more in depth about poor communication via email in the workplace. And then you go in to this your problem that you're discussing, and then the solutions. You go into your main point. So the introduction, literally 3 sentences, an attention getter, and the overall goal of the team presentation, and then a preview of who the speakers are and their topics. That's it. And so don't shy away from volunteering from first or last position because you think it's extra work. It's really 3 sentences. And if you need help, get your teammates to help you craft the attention getter, or double check the speaker order and the speaker topics with everybody. If you're the team leader, make sure that your team has this figured out, whether you're delivering this first point and the introduction or whether someone else is. And so everyone just should be on the same page. Same thing with the conclusion. It doesn't matter how many speakers end up being a part of this. You should figure this out soon. So once again, referring back to what I said earlier, if someone doesn't show up, don't leave them a space. Just move forward without them. But they need to, whoever the last speaker is, needs to once again start with a summary of the speakers and what their topics were. So today you've heard from Amanda Ratcliffe and her discussion on email problems in the workplace. Then you heard from Sandra Johnson. She discussed briefly written communication problems in the workplace. And then Josh talked about such and such. And I finished the presentation with a review of how interpersonal relationships can cause problems in the workplace. Okay, so that's a review or summary of your speakers and their topics. Then you want to restate the goal of the team presentation, such as, for example, now you have a better understanding of some common communication problems that can occur in the workplace, and then you have a definite closing statement. So this is just a statement that signifies to the audience that you're done without you having to say, I'm done, that's all I got, And so a definite closing statement could be something like, now that we know this information, as young professionals, we can all be on the lookout for overcoming these common problems. And that's it. Stop talking, you're done. So the conclusion, once again, very, very short, 3 sentences, and that's all you have to do. So don't shy away from being the first or last speaker. These are not extra tasks, and this is an advantage for the first or last speaker. Your intro or your conclusion counts as your time. And so you have 30 seconds that you don't have to fill with main point info. You can fill it with intro or conclusion. So just remember, overall, you need to speak for 3 to 4 minutes. The conclusion, if you're the last speaker, counts as part of that time. The introduction, if you're the first speaker, counts as part of that time. So that's something to be aware of. So this week, you are moving on to team discussion 2. Each team leader needs to present some sample PowerPoint designs. This does not mean you create a template for the whole team. Everyone's going to create their own PowerPoint. We're just going to pick a common background design, and that's it. Then everyone takes that background, puts it on their own slides, and presents their own slides to their own audience when they video their own presentation. And so, you can just open up PowerPoint. As a team leader, if you're the team leader, you look at some different backgrounds, like, I think this one is cool. Make one sample slide, or maybe two slides, because there's usually a title slide and then let's just go with this. There's usually a title slide and then the content slides that may be slightly different. Just do like put sample and then, content slide. Save this, attach it to the discussion board so your teammates can see what this looks like. And then maybe do two other options. So you have a choice and you pick which one matches your topic or what you think would look good. And then everyone just go in on their PowerPoint and choose it. And so just make sure that you choose something that is common to PowerPoint, that everyone would have access to. And just realize that if you don't have PowerPoint, you can download Microsoft Office free through Tyler Junior College. I don't think anyone has had this problem, but you need to have PowerPoint. And so just choose a common PowerPoint background among yourselves. And then let's just go back to team discussion 2. You'll notice I've added a message. If you haven't finished up the decision making in team discussion 1, that needs to happen before you move on to team discussion 2. Because you're going to have to post your individual outlines, or at least a draft of your individual outlines, later this week. And so you need to know some of that information that was decided last week. And so those are the two major things. The PowerPoint choices should be posted by the team leader by Thursday. The decision doesn't have to be made until Saturday. So some of you are getting these due dates off. You're seeing the Thursday due date and you're panicking. Read the instructions. You have 2 extra days after the Thursday due date, and then you can make some decisions. The individual outline drafts are due by Thursday, and then look at each other's on Friday and Saturday and offer some feedback to each other. And so make sure that 2 people are not doing the same topic. Make sure that the points are different enough that you're covering a variety of problems, communication problems. And then if there's any help that is needed with the introduction and conclusion, offer that help among your team members and work together on that. Also, you just want to work out how you're introducing the next speaker. So at the end of your presentation, you'll say something like, so now that you know more about email problems in the workplace, my colleague Sandra Johnson will now be talking about the issues that can arise in written communication in the workplace. And then that's the end of your portion. I'll move on to the next person, to Sandra Johnson's video, for instance. Watch her video. She'll introduce the next speaker, so forth and so on. And so just clarify that wording, maybe even among your team members, and see if you can't have some consistency in how you're introducing each other at the end of your presentations. All right. If there's any questions or concerns, I know there's a lot involved, but the main thing is to read the instructions. A lot of the questions that I get can be answered by closely reading the instructions, and then watch these videos and encourage your classmates to watch these videos as well, because they really help. And so let me know if I can help you in any way, and have a great week. Thanks.